Welcome. Okay, let us move to Jyotishmati then. viśokā Jyotishmati. These two states or practices, because Patanjali is now telling methods for the highest caliber people, for those who are having something which is not the possession of others, which means that person is capable and his capacity or her capacity is highest. But even then, when Patanjali discusses these sutras, he takes into account all our lacunas, because if that was to be said, he had already told one method, abhyasa vairagya abhyanta nirodha. Then he goes on to say Ishwar pranidhanadva and so many things. Eka tattva abhyasaha, maitri karuna mudita upeksha, which means he fully understands that even those who are of the highest caliber, or they have the capacity to develop that kind of capacity, which means they will also find it difficult to employ any one of instructions. Like the sole instruction was Abhyasa Vairagya. So Vairagya is something he has already talked about. The Vairagya comes not easily, and therefore he said that precursor to Vairagya is creating right kind of emotional states upon seeing relations in the world, which is Maitri Karuna Mudita Upeksha. So Patanjali is not giving direct formula for Vairagya. He is basically giving us method to develop aklishta vrittis. Our response to external stimulus should be well balanced and should not take away our peace of mind. This is what he has told. So Vairagya is a very long journey, and even when you attain so, it is viśokā, which means you create the state of Vairagya only for the limited period of time. It is not possible for the human being in human body to develop paravairagya all the time, number one. Second, even this vairagya without actually forcing it upon oneself. So vairagya is a continuous effort. Let us be clear about it. Vairagya is not a thing that you will attain and it will stay with you forever. Because it's a moment-to-moment response of ours for the worldly stimulus. That's one. And also, it is conditioned response of whatever smritis and sanskaras or vasanas we have been carrying from lives. So it's not as easy to develop vairagya all the time. And Patanjali has identified it clearly. And that is why he has said that it is quite possible for such a high caliber sadhaka also, a yogi also, to get deviated from vairagya. Or he has actually assumed a worse situation, that a person might develop jealousy, might get into comparison mode, might feel bad upon somebody else's success. Then what he says, you have to develop maitri. You have to come into the emotion of maitri. Because sometimes upon seeing the suffering of people whom we don't like, have dvesha, then upon seeing the suffering, you may feel that they must suffer. And many a times you must have seen that you have exploded yourself in such a way that this person should suffer like this. Have you not noticed that in your own behavior? I'm not saying that you people are the highest caliber sadhaks, but still, you are sadhak, you claim at least. So, based on that claim, I'm saying that even if you are trying to control your vrittis, still, you attend to satsangs for what? To gain better control, better handle on your own mind. And I think you must be serious about it. That is why you people take out time and instead of going to attending to other things in life, you come here and listen to all these things. So that means anyone who tries may fail also. Anyone. Forget about the highest caliber, lower caliber or someone. Anyone who is trying to achieve vairagya, who is interacting in this world, there are so many pitfalls. And I need to go back to those sutras again and again. Why? Because unless until you have developed at least this much capacity and control on your own emotional state or state of your mind, has to remain unagitated. If you've not developed that, then these methods which are being given will not work. They will not give you the desired result. They will be just wasting your time. Even if we try our best, we definitely have so many pitfalls. We have so many moments when we become weak. That means weak means we lose control. And Patanjali is fully recognizing that yes, it is a possibility, and therefore I must instruct these practitioners to at least have something as actionable so that they can work immediately. Having recognized that they have slipped from the vairagya state, or at least they have found themselves to be drenched in negativity, they should be able to elevate themselves. And it's a continuous process. So therefore, the role of awareness cannot be denied. Okay. The role of awareness cannot be denied because if you don't become cognizant of what is happening to you, what is happening in your inner world, how will you apply all these things? So we must always remain aware, at least this much aware that what is the state of my mind? And you know that in many of the workshops, other workshops which I have done, I said that one of the methods was be aware of your emotional state. You see, I said it out of my own maybe understanding, not directly referring to Patanjali Yoga Sutras there, because I don't keep those scriptures in my mind when I say such things. But you see, even Patanjali is saying that be aware of your emotional states. So whenever you are finding yourself in any situation which can evoke a negativity, you immediately find that yes, this is happening to me, I will confront it. Having said that, now let us come to this particular sutra, viśokā va jyotiśmatī. Now, viśokā itself, why I refer back? Because viśokā is the state of joy. Absence of shoka. Absence of shoka means there is no sorrow. But I think most of us, if you look at your life, if somebody comes and asks, how's your life? You'll not exclaim that, yeah, I am on cloud nine. For sure. Because there is undercurrent of shoka in everybody. This enthusiastic reply is very, very uncommon. And that too, all the time. It cannot happen that way. So, viśokā has to be achieved. At least the viśokā has to be. You should be happy in all circumstances, in any given situation, in whatever way your life is treating you. You have to elevate yourself to that state where you are not sad. At least this much. Or even if some moments come where you find yourself drifting into sadness, you immediately work on it. Now, viśokā already Patanjali has given the method. Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. These are all positive emotions. Nothing negative about it. Maitri is a positive emotion. Karuna is also a positive emotion, unless until you become too much obsessed or start having a raga for some action. Or else Karuna is sufficient to bring about a positive change in your stream of thoughts and emotions. Or else what will mostly happen when we find ourselves in Karuna or compassion, we want to act. That's again a problem. We want to take some action based on that emotion. But Patanjali is talking only about your management, internal management, emotional management, rather than actually getting into an action to arrive at that state. So you may have capacity to respond to a particular situation in life where you are filled with Karuna, you may not. So even if you are not, Karuna is enough, Patanjali says. Correct? That is also a positive emotion. Compassion. You may not be able to help, but at least you are full of prayers for that person, that situation. You are still well-wishing. At least wishing well. Karuna is what? If you are incapable of doing something, taking some action, and it is beyond your capacity, personal efforts cannot be done, then what will you do? Will you feel guilt? If you start feeling guilt, after that is a problem. So find yourself doing something, at least a prayer, a positive thing, a positive outcome. Hoping for that is not needed. Wishing that is needed. Please understand. Hoping is again desire. If that will not come true, you'll again find yourself drifting into negativity. And how can you do that without getting filled with any sort of negativity? And that's the reason Patanjali brings in Ishvara. That's the reason. See, if you are wishing well, ultimately who is the giver of all these things? Who is the orchestrator of this life? Ishvara. So your wishing well is for good for you. What will happen is in the hands of Ishvara. And thus, this belief, if it is in contrast to what we generally feel, that whenever we are filled with Karuna, we want to take some action. Take it. But especially remain aware of the fact that there is one entity called Ishvara who exists, who runs this world. And you'll have to trust his justice system rather than your own efforts. So Karuna there then only can lead to viśokā, or else you will, one moment you are in compassion, next moment you will be sad. Do you relate with this or not? So Karuna should not drift you into sadness, any guilt. You've experienced it or not? One moment of compassion and then days of guilt, days of sadness, that I could not do anything. How can you do? Are you all powerful being on this planet? No, you are not. Ishvara is. This is run by Ishvara. This show is run by Ishvara. So this is the reason Patanjali deviates from the Sankhya philosophy, where there is no place for Ishvara. And I can tell you, Sankhya is a very profound system, but it is not meant for ordinary. If you work on yourself in isolation and without accepting presence of any higher force like Ishvara, that is what Sankhya is. And I'll tell you, one of that, such a system exists. That with a little deviation though. And that system is Jainism. They don't believe that there is God, but they do believe there is Guru. Which is at least a little bit more equipped to guide them, to usher them into positivity, that they believe. But not anyone who can come to your help other than people around, good or bad. You have to help others. If others help you, good. If they don't help you, you can't complain to Ishvara there. Think about it. Here, in our philosophy where we have Ishvara, we start complaining. And that is why attributes of Ishvara must be understood properly. That concept should be very clear to you. Or else you will also find yourself complaining to Ishvara for whatever is happening in this world, or happening to you, or happening to anybody whom you love or hate. Correct or not? No complaints. You can't, because he is all-knowing. An all-knowing person can never do injustice. So you have to keep it in mind. Do you all believe in Ishvara? Ask yourself. Do you believe in his justice? Ask yourself. And you have to be clear. Whatever path you follow, it does not matter. Ordinary people need to accept the presence of such a force, which is the orchestrator of this world, which is responsible for creating situations and paying out our karma. So there is no injustice here. At the end, what happens is, it is her wish or his wish, whatever we do. So therefore, karuna should be done for what? Karuna should be done for our own sake, our own self. For coming out of that negative stream of emotion. And then mudita, upeksha, both are self-explanatory. I need not go there, because they immediately, you know where mudita, of course, upon seeing goodness, you are filled with aklishta vrittis. But sometimes it happens so that upon seeing the good work of others, we find ourselves filled with negative. Sometimes it is our programming that we are not able to appreciate even the good work of others. We try to color it with our own biases. And then we say, no, it's all bad. No, it's not all bad. Whatever is good there, you must see there. And whatever is bad there, you must have upeksha. Next. There is no need to fill yourself with negativity in any situation, Patanjali says. Once you have arrived at that state for yourself, you will be free of sorrow. That is viśokā. And this sutra has been discussed quite long back. So much has come. So much water has already flown. So many other sutras have come. But again, in attempting to decode this particular sutra, viśokā va jyotiśmatī, you will have to take into account all that you have already studied. See, these are sequential sutras. Sequential. But everything coming at a later stage, later sequence is definitely dependent on what all we have already covered, what all we have already learned. Whether we have mastered it or not, at least you should keep it in mind that those are the things I need to work on to create viśokā sthiti. And not one, many practices have been given. If it doesn't work, you say, okay, no problem. Do fast breathing. If it doesn't work, focus your attention on Ishvara. Do pranava japa. Do something. I see. Do shirshasana. I will think. You remember? I told you about Chanchu Mahamudra. What is it? Smile. Now again I'll tell you. Laugh. Don't cry. Some people come back and say, no, Acharya, I want to cry for 10 minutes. After that, I'll be okay. Right? If you don't come out of that particular habit. Most of people are. I mean, mostly you will find that women folk find themselves in such a situation very often. They'll say, I'll go and come after 5-10 minutes, I'll be okay. They go and cry, whatever corner they find, and they come back and they say, I'm fine now. You see? So, as many times as you do this, you're actually creating vritti for that. You'll not be able to come out of it. Break the pattern. Take charge. No, sir, I'll not cry. I'll do anything else, but not cry. Okay? So, here we have to be aware of that. That we are not allowed to cry. Be very clear. Patanjali says you have to learn to be smiling or at least have a stable state, stable emotional state to be able to attempt yoga. And I can tell you, not yoga, any path, any spiritual system. If you have not learned this much, then it's a task for you. You have to learn this. So crying not allowed. Now, coming to this particular sutra. Now you have attained viśokā. Viśokā va jyotiśmatī. Viśokā and jyotiśmatī. Jyotiśmatī, as I said, is about contemplation on your heart. What is heart? See, hridaya is a very complicated word. Yes, it is. All right. Heart is a very complicated word. Even in scriptures, heart means many things. And one of the things is center of your own experience. Whatever you are experiencing, center of that. If your experience is the crux of the matter, the mood point, this is heart only. But this is an external world. Internally, whatever you experience closest to you is heart. Okay? Whatever you think you relate to yourself as, that is heart. Relate to yourself as yourself, that is heart. Right? And this is me. This me is heart. Okay? Whatever your definition be, based on that, you will have a particular kind of heart disease. Disease-free heart means you experience yourself as Chaitanya. Okay? You are Chaitanya. If you are anything other than that, little bit surgery is needed, bypass is needed, many things are needed to be able to experience your heart. It's not the heart which we think, that heart which pumps the blood. Even here, when we say that in our experience, where are we experiencing this world? In our chitta. And Patanjali is talking of chitta vritti nirodha. The deepest experience of your power of cognition, that is center of your cognition, where every cognition happens. That is heart. Now, it does not necessarily mean that you have to go by this definition. Why? Because masters have worked on it and they have found that yes, by anchoring your attention to some parts of your body, you develop better state of chittam. Your consciousness also changes. Your experience of consciousness also changes. If you focus your attention on certain body part, your consciousness, the flow of consciousness, which means it will become more clished or at least one experience of it, What is your experience of consciousness? Consciousness for you is awareness of self and others. This is what is consciousness for you. You should clearly understand. What is consciousness? Consciousness is awareness of self and others. And let me add in the Patanjali style, va. Va also means or and, both. When you're conscious of yourself and you're not conscious of the world, it does not mean you lack consciousness. When you're aware of the consciousness of the world, you're aware of the world, you're not conscious of yourself, then also you're conscious. And there is no time in your life when you're not conscious of either of these. This means, as consciousness, only you exist in this world. You experience this world. So here, heart means becoming aware of your conscious presence that you are. That's one. Second is becoming aware of your deeper and deeper experience of mind, whatever it is. When we say mind, then you must have seen people saying, भाई ये मैं दिल से कह रहा हूं. अरे कोई आदमी दिल से कैसे कह सकता है? Can anybody? No, this is I'm heart to heart talk. अरे what is heart to heart talk? It simply means when you're not doing heart to heart talk, you're actually talking from a very superficial level of your mind. Chitta. Superficial. That means very logical and rooted in your identity, rooted in judgments, rooted in logic, and rooted in self-defense. Please understand. Self-defense is that particular state where, attitude where you try to protect your identity. Nothing else. If you have no identity, you will not have to protect your identity. Or if you're not into any sort of comparison, because when you have an identity, you will definitely get into comparison with the identity. And 99.9% of the times, we want to prove the superiority of our own identity. This is a continuous struggle for us. And that is the reason when we say in our discourses, many a times I've said, don't try to become extraordinary, because even the extraordinary will feel ordinary when extraordinary comes in front of them. Rather, become ultraordinary. And I can tell you, being ultraordinary will always keep you extraordinary. So, having said that we are in continuous struggle to save our identity, if we come out of that, we will find ourselves free for experiencing and conversing at a different level, which means talking heart to heart. That means now I'm aware of many things, but I am now dropping all my identities or loosening up my grip on my identity. Now I'm going at the level of an individual. I'm talking. I'm not talking. So people say, you see, I'm not speaking to you as the vice president of this company. I'm speaking to you as an individual. This is heart to heart. You understand? At a level. Compared to that, it's heart to heart. You'll feel, yeah, the person is so close to me. Is it not? Which means dropping the identity means you are moving close to your heart. Heart means the unexplored depths of your own mind, your own chitta. So Patanjali Sutra, or the method which has been described by other great yogis, when they say that you should focus on your heart, what is this heart? So I have given you many understandings, apart from the one which is physical heart, or the center of the chest, where you focus, well within the rib cage. You focus your attention. You become aware of it. And then you create a different state of consciousness where you become aware of self rather than the world. And when that happens, it is equivalent to life. It has to be seen as light. You experience light. Now, when the light, now in our Spandakarika, if you go back, now I'll have to correlate it. Otherwise, you'll feel that, yeah, I did not see light today. Does that mean I was not experiencing myself? Let us understand. In Spandakarika, we have seen clearly that there are two aspects of our experience. One is Prakasha and the second is Vimarsha. Understand? Prakasha, Vimarsha. What is Prakasha? The self is Prakasha. And what is Vimarsha? That experience which is generated either upon experiencing ourselves or experiencing anything other than that is Vimarsha. So from Vimarsha, Vimarsha is essential part of our experience, but from Vimarsha, we should be directed to Prakasha. And that will happen when we are having experience of self. See, how do you differentiate? Experience of self is other than the self. Think. Is experience of self other than the self? Even if it is, for a moment, let us take it that. Even if it is the closest experience which we can have. It is the most intimate experience we can have. We cannot experience anything in this world other, closest to this. So keep your logical mind aside. Even if you think, and if you deploy it, of course, you'll say, experience of self is not self. I'll say, okay, taken, no problem. Experience of self is not self. But no other experience can be more intimate than this. And then here you have to now go back to masters who say that this experience must be aimed for. This experience is liberating. This experience is what anyone can aspire for, and once it is achieved, it will beat all your experiences of the world. It will outshine all other experience of your life. Life or lifetime. Understand? And then they will further say, it is your nature to experience. An experiencer can never say that I am not experiencing. And once it starts experiencing itself, it is nothing but self. So Vimarsha becomes Prakasha. So by that logic, you have to move towards the heart, viśokā, after becoming free of sorrow, all sort of agitations, all sort of comparisons, all sort of complexes, and all sort of identities that you carry, and your continuous struggle is to defend your personality, defend your identity, prove that your identity is superior. All that. Once we become free of it, then we can go towards ourselves, towards heart. How do we do that? I mean, this is not the class for it. I have given you methods and understood. I think you have probably made out of these discussions that by focusing on different points in your body, as I said, that focusing on your heart, that means a real heart, in the middle of your chest, if you focus, your state of consciousness changes. Which means what? State of consciousness changes means you move from idam towards aham. I'm not saying you become aham. You move from idam to aham. You move from thatness to thisness. or thatness to I-ness, or thisness to I-ness, whatever way you understand that. So, becoming aware of your heart, literally so now, literally so, will make you more centered towards yourself. At least not centered, if not centered, then more drifted towards yourself, more attentive of your own existence. Whether that is true self or not, whether that is still so much to be worked on, that's not the problem. But at least you have oriented yourself in the right direction. This will happen. And as you orient yourself in the right direction, and now I'll give you another example. You're moving in a direction and where you are not able to see, you're keeping, let's say, any source of light on your backside. That means your back is facing the source of light and you're moving in the direction away from it. At any point, at any time, when you turn backward, you'll definitely see the source of light. See the source of light. At least you have turned towards it. Wherever you are, whatever way you are moving, whichever direction in 360 or 4 pi, what's a stay radians, wherever you are moving, whatever direction you are moving, if you turn towards your back, means take the about turn, you'll see the source of light for sure. This simply means this is Jyotishmati. The first time you see the Jyoti. Make sense? Understand? That means drawing our attention towards ourselves is the beginning of Jyotishmati. Becoming aware, and the process is very simple. As I told you, it does not mean that you start applying. Process which Patanjali and other masters have declared. Patanjali has not described it, but other masters have other traditions have described that you need to focus on your heart. Literally. So focus on your heart, become aware of it more and more. This will turn your attention towards self, which is a Jyotishmati in itself. So this is the explanation of the second part, Jyotishmati. Now everybody's Jyoti will be different. Why? And everybody's experience of Jyotishmati is going to be different. Why? Because you see, if you are very far away from a source of light, which means far away means here, far away means nothing. More oriented towards your senses, more oriented towards the whatever has gone by, more oriented towards what does not exist and you are creating. Understand? Or more oriented towards self. All is possible. Now here, based on what you are attached to, what you are focused on, what you are giving importance to, your experience of Jyotishmati is going to be different, because we can't take about turn and just launch, immediately arrive at the self. That's not a possibility. Why? Because Chitta is always having a vritti. So maybe being in that vritti, I have become introvert. So that vritti has to shrink back to its source. That is the center, the heart. For example, suppose you were very sad or agitated. Then you take about turn there and you say, no, I want to take control. I want to take charge. Then what happens? Does that mean that immediately your vritti will come to a standstill and you'll move about your own being? No, it is not possible. What will happen? It will take some time for that flywheel to dampen its speed, and then you'll gradually move towards your original state of calm or original state of shanti. So it simply means that if I am far away, means if I am engaged in certain vritti, my experience of Jyotishmati will not start immediately. And also one thing you should keep in mind, we are not aware of all our vrittis all the time. It does not mean that the other vrittis don't exist when we are occupied or completely consumed by one vritti. For example, You have a vritti of fighting with people, and we all fulfill that desire. More often than not, we do enter into fights, and we also have a vritti to love, to show compassion, to show care, to show that also we have. So when you are showing compassion, when you are speaking good words, when you are so caring, does it mean that you don't have any vritti left for the fighting or revenge or contempt? It is there. But only thing is that at this moment, that vritti is in Kshina. Later on, when we do second part of this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you would understand that, or maybe in this itself, we'll discuss that vrittis have various stages. So it is there, but it is in very close to its bees, seed, or maybe it is still there. And have you not seen that out of blue, in a good moment, during a good talk, upon listening to one simple statement, don't you become angry suddenly? How can you become angry? Becoming angry immediately means there was this lurking vritti there, stand by, only to be attended to, already spinning very fast. That is how you can become so angry immediately, or else how can it will be? It can never be so. Which means we have to become aware that these are the vrittis which we are still carrying in us. अभी शांति है इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम शांत हैं. हमारे दिमाग में 50 कल पुर्जे की मशीनें घूम रही हैं अभी भी. We may not be aware of it. Understand now? So it does not necessarily mean that we are calm and quiet at this moment. It does not mean we are not having the tendencies, the vrittis, which are quite, healthy, quite powerful. They're just waiting to come to that scenario. Immediately they can take over the so-called calm and quiet of your mind and create a lot of agitation, sorrow, depression, jealousy, anger, whatnot. So we have to learn to deal with it. How do we deal with it? Again, I'll go back to the sutra again. Have faith in Ishvara, remember Ishvara all the time, and then develop Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. Understood? If this doesn't work, chant Omkar. If that doesn't work, do fast breathing. Something should work. So we have to learn to somehow control our vrittis, dampen these vrittis. Okay? Not put it in cold storage, but I have to deal with it. What is it that makes me so angry? What is it that makes me come to this anger? And it takes lifetime to resolve these things. Not resolved immediately. But faster and more intent we are to resolve these vrittis, we can. Right? And let me tell you, these are not the vrittis which you have cultivated in this lifetime. Maybe many lifetimes you have spent like this. So much of potency is there in a particular vritti. It's so difficult to work on the baggage and all that momentum which you have gathered in thousands or maybe millions of lifetime to deal with it in one lifetime. So therefore, yogis always tell you that, I can remember my past 5 lives, 7 lives, 3 lives, and because this is how they have recognized that the last 7 lives I'm doing this. So it's not a immediate possibility to have direct control, immediate control, but definitely it's a possibility as per system of yoga to become free of it completely over time. It may take few lifetimes. It may happen in this lifetime. Depends. For whom it will happen in this lifetime, for that also Patanjali has given the clue. Do you remember that? There are 2 types of yogis, Videha Prakriti Layama. So it works for them. In this lifetime itself, they may succeed. Born with that capacity to completely take charge of their vrittis and put it to stand still at command. Was there a sutra? Videha Prakriti Layama. Go back to that sutra, you'll understand what it means. So yogis who have been working on themselves, on their control of their chittam, they develop such capacities and they kind of are born with some momentum towards it, and they can succeed very easily in this lifetime. For others, it's not that they can't. However, they'll have to make lot of effort, lot of effort. Who knows that in this lifetime itself they achieve it? Maybe in this lifetime itself they become, when they pass through this life, when they drop this body, they achieve the state of next birth where they will be arriving here as Videh or Prakriti Laya. So it's a possibility for all of us. However, we need to be rooted in our reality. अपनी औकात पता होनी चाहिए हमको कि हमारे पास क्या क्या है. We take stock of things, क्या क्या है, what we need to deal with, the kama, krodha, ईर्ष्या, लोभ, मोह, अहंकार, राग, द्वेष, what not. Take डेली अपना स्टॉक लिस्ट, प्रिपेयर योर स्टॉक लिस्ट. आज क्या बचा, क्या खर्च हो गया, व्हाट इज आउट ऑफ स्टॉक, आई डोंट हैव इट नाउ. There's one or two things in your lifetime if you are able to say out of stock, it is not with me. It's a great achievement. But let me tell you that if any one thing you can put it out of stock, that will boost your morale, boost your confidence, and then you can suddenly, and you know the trick now. If you could do it for one, now you can replicate that, and clearly and easily you can probably deal with many such things, many such negativities will soon you'll find it. They are out of stock. I don't find them. Jealousy, I don't have it. Comparison, I don't compare. Angry on things, I hardly. And then, no, I am angry. I am an angry person. Too much in a store. Desire for money, I don't have it. And test it. Don't say I don't have it because you have enough. So, see what is the real state of these things which we are actually going to deal with. Patanjali gives us this method of viśokā and jyotiśmatī. And anyone who is trying to attempt samadhi, chittavritti nirodha, will have to definitely arrive at viśokā sthiti, which means free of sorrow. दुनिया का कोई दुख नहीं है अब मुझे. I don't have any suffering. And secondly, even when you are working on cleansing this stock, clearing this stock for yourself, you need to be in such a state, or else you will be only engaged in sorting out your issues rather than actually working on yourself. So even there, when you're operating to resolve your issues, you can resolve your issues when you're happy, when you're even-minded, when you're in a balanced state, when you're free from sorrow, guilt, negativity, anger, contempt, anything, then only you can sort it out. And when I said that moving towards Prakasha is so very easy for us, all of us, become aware of self, that is moving towards Prakasha. In whatever way you think you exist, even as an identity, if you exist, and if you have certain parameters to work on, to make yourself a better personality, even that is turning towards yourself. I'm not saying that you start working directly on the individuality, which is free of all the identity. So therefore, in our system, we say dharma, dharma, dharma. If you want to become a good individual, first at least try to become good in whatever role you are playing. If you want to become a balanced individual, try to become a balanced individual in whatever role you are playing. Balanced, and then try to work on the individual. So many times we think that we are good in this case and we are not good. Most of people will agree. They'll say, I'm a good father, but I'm not a good husband. They'll say, I'm a good mother, but I'm not a good wife. I'm always full of positivity, I'm full of compassion. But then you'll have to check, why so? Why so? Why you are not good in a particular way? Then you'll understand that there are things which I need to resolve. I'm not able to develop karuna. I'm not able to develop compassion. I'm not taking people as individuals. I'm probably making them our servant or somebody who is something maybe totally in your control, but trying to take too much control. Why we are good with our children? Mostly because we fully know, whether we realize it or not, we fully know they are there only to be nurtured so that they can become more free in their life and they need to take their decisions. If we accept their individuality in a sense, and therefore we are little freer, most of people are free. Most of people are not as much worried or as much problematic relationships they have with their kids. They have this little understanding that ultimately they'll have to live their life. They will have to take their own decisions, right or not? But this doesn't happen in certain relationships. And therefore, no, the person should take the same decision as I think. Person should behave the same way as I feel. This is right, and that this should be right for him also or her also. This is correct for me, it should be correct for him or her also. This is how we start operating, and therefore we suffer. We have to become aware. No, this awareness only can bring about this change, is it not? So becoming good or bad in roles is also a way of working on ourselves. However, it may become a job which is focused on a particular role. And I'll tell you what happens when a particular role is worked on in isolation. What happens? When you create good situations for yourself, then again, your major problem is that we want to enjoy good situations in life. The moment you create good situations there in a particular role which was dear to you, thought there was so much problem in it, and you sort it out, you'll develop a longing, raga for it, and then again, the problem is becoming Vita raga or going to Vairagya, which doesn't happen. It does not mean you need not be good. You should, but always keep in mind, not for your enjoyment, but for your inner journey. If that is clear to you, then only everything will work. Or else, creating goodness in life, it may work for you, it will create good things in life, good situations in life, it will create more happy moments in life, but that will not create vairagya. Let me tell you. Because we have a natural tendency for likable, lovable situations to be present. And if we are able to create that, we will start enjoying them rather than thinking, abhi kisko dhyan lagana, who wants to meditate? I'm happy. The only problem in my life was this. These two fellows, now I've sorted that out. And I'm happy. So when you're happy, will you work on your mind now? You will not. Is it not? You will start enjoying it. Everybody does that. Everybody will forget Ishwar. No Ishwar needed. Now I can deal with my life. And now I have sorted it out. Things are going my way. And therefore I'm happy. And happy people, I'll tell you the reality. Happy people don't need spirituality. Happy people don't need God. Happy people don't need yoga. But let me tell you, no person in this world can ever be happy without knowing oneself. Ever be happy completely, totally, all the time. That's also a fact, which we forget. And every happiness, later on you'll see, every happiness, every good experience of life comes with 4 dukkha's. Every sukha comes with 4 dukkha's. We don't recognize it, that's okay. Later on, Patanjali will develop that kind of eye in us that we can see. At least we can see that these are the 4 dukkha's coming with every sukha. So, we are very, very clever. We want to create sukha, and once the aklishta vrittis start coming, we start enjoying, again raga for that, and then we start suffering later on. It's a very complicated thing. But anyways, I think I have conveyed what I wanted to in particular to this particular sutra, where the primary goal is to become free of sorrow, but you need not. Patanjali in this same sutra is saying so. Viśokā means, now I'm happy. Yeah. So now I'm happy does not mean that you stop there. He said, "Va and Jyotishmati, become aware of yourself." In the same sutra, he is guiding us. If we only look at it properly, otherwise we'll say, "ठीक है, विषोका हो गया. Now life is good." What is the need of meditation? I can meditate on my wife. I can meditate on my husband. I can meditate on my job. I can meditate on anything. These are यहाँ ध्यान दे, है ना, ध्यान लगाना है तो यहाँ ध्यान देते हैं. ठीक है. So that's all for today. Let's close it here and let's pray and then we. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Sure.